carry Io carried OG to a second victory at TI, and now they're bringing it back. This is a very fresh game played today between OG and Ninjas in Pajamas from the Omega League. So here we see a core matchup of Io, Tidehunter, and Dark Seer. These are the three cores, and as you're going to see in this game, this is an extremely potent combination that OG are going to use to destroy this game. Welcome to the Church of Obelisk. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I'll bring you fresh Dota 2 content focused around micro heroes like Chen and Enchantress, Visage, Lycan, and these kinds of heroes. And in this case here, a core Io who of course is going to go for Helm of Dominator, making him kind of a micro hero. So we see some lane swapping here. They want to avoid the Enchantress with that Dark Seer, so that's what OG want here in this lane, because the Enchantress can just dispel the Iron Shell. They actually switch the lanes here. They put the Enchantress up top to make Seb's life a bit harder. So they actually get the good lane setup on NiP. But the thing is about Ko Io is that he's not really a strong lane. You don't really expect him to like win the lanes because his last hitting is quite bad. You see, even with this crown and this Iron Branch, he only has 48 damage. That is very low base damage. So you're gonna have some trouble last hitting and doing well in lane. But really what you're looking for as Io is the mid-game strength. So in the late game you have that nice talent level 25, attack tethered allies target, which works together with Titan's Anchor Smash, so that's quite powerful. But there's only level 25 and it's going to be a long time to actually reach that. We're not going to see that in this particular game, but as you'll see, even without that, the Io is going to be really powerful. And the main reason for that is that they have this Dark Seer. So really the Tidehunter is not the most important part of this combination, even though he's actually going to be the one who's going to carry this game, this mid Tidehunter. But the most important part of this draft together with the Io is the Dark Seer. They picked that Io Dark Seer in the first phase, and this is a really powerful combination because of this Surge ability. Surge gives 250 bonus movement speed and disables the maximum movement speed of 550. 650 is the movement speed that Lycan has. But as we're going to see, this Titan is going to zoom ahead together with this Io at much higher speeds than that. Once you have the bonus movement speed that you get from Tether, which at level 4 is 12%, and then you also get that plus 250 movement speed from Dark Seer, and that is going to be a very fast Tidehunter and consequently also very fast Io when he's tethered to him. Because with Tether you get the movement speed of whatever target you tether to. So of course you want to tether the targets that are very fast. You want definitely sort of line up that has a hero that can go very fast, and with a Dark Seer on your team, any hero can go really fast. So Tidehunter is not necessarily the best hero for Io as a combination, but just in terms of drafting, once you have that Io and that Dark Seer, there's so many heroes that can slot well into that. So for example, you can, if you look at the heroes, you can have a hero like Gyrocopter, of course, very classic Io combination. You can have Troll, who's perhaps even the best hero in this combination. He has all that attack speed and just a very strong sort of carry hero that really benefits from having an Io in there. You can have a hero like Luna. There's lots of heroes that can really slot into that spot. You can have like a Bristleback, for example. There's a lot of heroes, and talent is not that crucial to this. You just need one hero that's like a really good tether combination, and there's lots of them. The reason why Tidehunter is particularly good here in this particular game is because they're playing against this Lycan. And Lycan is a hero that just doesn't do anything against Tidehunter. You can't really run into him because his Kraken Shell will just give you 50 damage block, which means your wolves just deal almost no damage. Your Necro units also deal very little damage. And then you have the Anchor Smash, which is really good at dealing with wolves and these other summons. So you pretty much have to avoid the Tidehunter as the Lycan, and then the Io is going to be near the Tidehunter, so you can't really kill him either. And you know, Dark Seer is also hard to kill, as Lycan, Earth Spirit also not that easy. So really the only target you can really easily kill here is the Oracle. So it's a very tough Lycan game, and that's why the Tidehunter pick is so strong, to just keep the Lycan in check. And you, even if you run past the Tidehunter, you can still Ravage, and it's always going to get that good Ravage off that way. So we see this mid Tidehunter actually not skilling Ravage level 6, because in the mid lane you're not really going to get a kill with that, especially against an Earth Spirit. So might as well just save that point and get extra point in Kraken Shell, which allows you to be more durable, tank these creep waves without taking any damage. These melee creeps to 21 damage, which means they do nothing now with the level 2 Kraken Shell. But a lot of people gang up in 3-1, and eventually the Tidehunter is going to fall, but he's really going to make them work for it. So he falls now, and of course going for that Blades, which is a very powerful item on Tidehunter. Meanwhile, here in the bottom lane, our Io is of course going for Dominator. Started out with a Crown, which helps him for last hitting because it does 4 damage. Then went for the Magic Stick just because it's a value item. And then he's going straight into Dominator. It's just really important to get that item early on. And also, like, the Iron Will is actually really powerful on Io. He's a strength hero, so always armor is nice to have. And of course, extra armor means that your regen is going to be more effective. And then of course, HP regen is very powerful on Io. It's also just a really good lane combination together with Oracle. You have all that sustain, and you're not really gonna like win this lane in the sense of killing opponents generally, but it's a lane that has a huge amount of sustain, even also with the Basilius here on that Oracle. So this is a lane that if you don't kill them, and it's difficult to kill them as well because you have all this dispel and movement speed that Tether gives you and so on. So it's actually a pretty sturdy lane, and also later on it's going to be quite powerful. That save from Oracle and that heal coming out is really powerful again with Io. So it's actually going to be very difficult for the enemy team to kill anyone except for that Oracle himself. Now Dominant is out, and he has taken over the Set of Tormentor, immediately going onto Phoenix. Phoenix is forced to use his egg here, and with those changes he can't actually kill the egg in time, so he has to run away. But that's fine. This is a egg wasted for doing nothing at all except just helping survive. That's always a good trade. And now we can just keep in this lane, and Phoenix now gonna rotate into the mid lane to try to help out with that fight. But as Io, you just want to farm, really. You want to get up your next item, you want to get more levels, because really all your abilities are really important, so it's quite important to get that farm up. And with the Set of Tormentor you can farm a lot faster, because you can just spam out that Shockwave. Use Shockwave, please. There we go. And you can see this creep regenerates mana incredibly fast. You know, by the time the cooldown comes back online, the mana is almost back to full, so you can just spam out the Shockwave as much as you want to. I'm gonna tether in here, try to help out this Tidehunter, but not really gonna be too much going on here. So as you just wanna help out your teammates if there's some sort of fight there where you can turn things around, but here it didn't actually turn into anything. But still, it's important to sort of be active around the map and see when there's fights that you can help out. But of course, after that you have to return. You don't want to pull the Tidehunter down here, so he turns to the bottom lane, and now it's just going to put on some pressure here, which you can do because you have all this movement speed from the Set of Tormentor. So normally most heroes, you couldn't really do this. It would be very dangerous for you, but here as Io, you can sort of get away with it. You can see he's taking some damage, but still has stick charges, and it's a bit close here, cutting it a bit close here, but he does get out of here, and he's going to be able to TP away, and he can be fine. It just creates so much space for his team, space for his Tidehunter to farm and put pressure onto that middle tower, of course the most important tower in the game. So the Tidehunter is having an excellent time. He's really won the lane against this Ember Spirit. You can see he has absolutely 0 denies, and Tidehunter has 8 denies, a lot more last hits too. So Tidehunter really a strong hero to lane against this Ember Spirit, and generally Tidehunter is just really good against most melee heroes. Once you have the Dominator, you can just bully people out of lane and see him running at that Phoenix, and Phoenix can't really do anything here. All you can do is dive away, and still they get caught here by the Earth Spirit. So even if these teammates don't come in here, it's still a really good move. Just bully people out of lane. So this is sort of the mid-game power of Io. You can just push here, and because you have relocate available, you can always join fights here. There's mid lane, there's a fight going on, and you can join here, but honestly it's not really a good fight. So he tries to make the effort here, but doesn't actually work out. So even though this game has not really gone so much according to plan so far, because top lane didn't go too well, bottom lane was okay, didn't really get just the lanes I wanted, only the mid lane really went well. And some of these fights at the start, like these two relocates that we've seen so far, were on the whole failures, so not having the best start here, but still he's doing well. They're still sort of even, and if you remember the IO games that OG won at TI, they were really far behind the start of those. They were like 5k behind at this stage of the game, and still they managed to win because core IO was so strong back then. It's no longer quite as strong as it used to be, but still with the recent buffs to IO with like, 40 movement speed gained, that is very powerful, and you're not always going to be tethered here. So when you untether, that extra 40 movement speed is really strong. And yeah, Io is not necessarily like a meta hero, but if you put him in the right kind of lineup here, he can be extremely powerful. And of course the fact that Io is a flex pick and can be played either as a carry or as a support makes him quite strong in these kinds of competitive games. In terms of item build, he's gone for a magic wand and a Basilius here for some extra value using those item slots, and then he's going into a Sange which turns to Heaven's Halberd. This is a pretty powerful item on Io. It's gonna increase your HP regen, which of course you have a lot of, because that's the kind of items you want to buy on Io. And then of course it's just in general a really strong utility item right now. It's gonna help you out against a hero like Lycan. Kiss units are still going to do a lot of damage, but at least you can disarm the Lycan himself. You can also use this on all the other heroes here. This is not like an exceptionally strong Halberd game, but Halberd is like pretty much always a good item. And it just like fits well into Io's kit. You of course also a strength hero, so it also gives some damage. So right now it's being engaged here, but you can just run here with that Oracle saving you, and they're trying to make these moves on NiP there, but they just don't find anything. They know they sort of have to make some sort of move, but they really can't. Because always there's this Io having so much movement speed, and pretty much the only hero that can easily kill is the Oracle, and even that is not that easy. Io can actually farm quite fast, especially here on the Dire, where you have all these camps that are close together. You can always sort of hit both camps with your spirits, and then you can also use the Set of Tormentor to aggro creeps towards you with that shockwave. So you can pull creeps together and then farm really efficiently. The thing about spirits is they do reduce damage against the non-hero units, but if they hit creeps, the spirits don't disappear, so you always have all the max spirits up and can actually farm quite fast on this hero, especially with the Dominator. This OG lineup is very strong about team fighting. They have all the Wombo combos with the Earth Spirit, with his ultimate and so on. They have the Dark Seer with Vacuum Wall. They have the Tidehunter with the Ravage. Very powerful team fighting. So they try to disengage here, NiP do, but they're going to get run down here and lose one person. Really the way that NiP have to play this game is they have to sort of split push, they have to split up the map, they have to have these smaller engagements where they can get like a hero kill hero there, split the map and avoid these big team fights. But it's quite hard against an Io lineup, which of course has the relocate to catch people out. So Tidehunter coming in here, running in with all that extra movement speed from the Io, and they can just dunk people down. Like, this Titan is so strong right now with Desolator and Vlad's. And then also they have this Dark Seer who's going through these aura items so the Titan doesn't have to. You see Crimson Guard here already on that Dark Seer. Was very powerful here against Lycan and all his units. So really Lycan is not going to have an easy game here. It's going to be very tough for him to find anything here except for that Oracle. So now they go into Roshan, and Roshan of course falls quite fast because they actually do a lot of physical damage with a Tidehunter, with a Medallion and Desolator, the minus armor coming in here. Maybe you should actually have that sort of Tormentor outside the pit, maybe like somewhere here. Scout out, I mean they have the ward here, but yeah, so right now you can see our Tidehunter is moving very fast with that extra movement speed here. They're already at 400 movement speed with nothing, only with the tether, and they try to go for this kind of fight with the Earthshaker, but there's nothing is dying. They only killed one hero, and they're gonna lose everything here. Emma Spirit maybe can get away, but no, he also dies, and so there's just nothing for them to do here. And now they can return into Roshan and finish this really quickly and without really taking any sort of losses. And you see Tidehunter already moving at 400 movement speed with only the tether, and then when you have the phase boots added in here as well as the Surge, he's gonna zoom across the map and make Lycan look like a very slow wolf. So we have the Aegis now on the Io. Of course, it makes sense to put on the Io because he is a lot more vulnerable than the Tidehunter. I mean, the Tidehunter is not really supposed to die. Now he finds an Essence Ring, which is a very powerful Io item, obviously. A lot of extra mana regen. I get another relocate here, coming to the fight. I'm gonna try to find something, and it's not that easy here because they are a bit too far forward here, and Io's gonna have to leave now. So this was Emma being, I think, a bit cocky here on OG. It's because they're in such a good position, but still nothing huge is dying. They only lost supports. The cores are still alive, and Io now coming in, of course, going to rejoin your team. And now with that Maelstrom up, he's actually even going to do decent damage. So it's because with Overcharge you also increase your own move attack speed. So Io is actually a decent right clicker with these kinds of items. So this fight doesn't go too well, but even so, they're not really losing at the core of their team. They're losing like a hero here or there, but NiP are not really getting anything for that. They have to work incredibly hard just to get a few kills here, and what does it really give them? Only a little bit of breathing room, only a little bit of gold, but they're not really taking any objectives here. A little while ago, Core Io would usually go for a MKB, but since MKB has been nerfed a couple of times, now the Mjolnir is a good alternative. And since you're playing against the Lycan, it makes a lot of sense to go for that item. Well, of course, MKB is also still a strong possibility, especially if you're dealing with evasion. But of course, this gives you better farming and just better against Lycan and all his units, and also helps out against the Phoenix with the extra attack speed against the egg. So Maelstrom, a really powerful item into Mjolnir, and then later on you can maybe get a BKB or something a bit more greedy. You can go into things like a Satanic, whatever you really need, because you have all these aura items being built in the Dark Seer, so that the 1 and 2, the Io and the Tidehunter, can just go for these items that help them in the fight. So we have this Tidehunter now with Desolator, Solar Crest, full minus armor build here, as well as Vlad's, which of course is a great item on Tidehunter. Gives him so much lifesteal with that Anchor Smash. So Tidehunter, when he's being surged up here, you can see he's moving around at 700 movement speed, and not even used phase boots yet. So he's just going to have so much movement speed, and all that comes together. So there's nothing really dying here on G's lineup. And like, let's look at this, 844 movement speed. How do you even counter that? Like, once they have like a couple of items on these heroes, how do you deal with that? They also have this Oracle sitting behind them, and it's just really tough. You have all this healing coming from Dark Seer. There's just nothing that NiP can do at this stage of the game. And yeah, OG are just sort of enjoying themselves here. with that massive movement speed, and they're not just fitting really well in this lineup because of that lichen. But you can also, of course, switch them out for a bunch of other heroes. But really, this Io and Dark Seer combination is what is so powerful, and that's why they crafted that in the first phase of that game. So pretty much when you're playing against OG, you're probably gonna ban both of these heroes because they're so strong. But then you have used up all your first phase bans. So once again, Tidehunter running in your 780 move speed, 844 with the phase boots active, and yeah, I mean they can run, but how far? I mean, you see this Earthshaker coming in, gets a very good Echo Slam, but it doesn't matter. There's not enough follow-up here. There's so much healing coming out of this entire team, and nothing at all dies. I mean, okay, here they got the position 5 here. Congrats, but you're losing your base, so what are you gonna do? That's really the only hero that's kind of easy to kill. And even then, it's not that easy because he still gets healed up by the Dark Seer and so on, and has some saves for himself, but all the rest of the team is just almost unstoppable here. You can see them speeding away here after taking these Raxes. So this stage of the game, farming is over. You just want to group up with your team. That's what Io is really good at. That's what OG is really good at. And sort of group up and take all these objectives. I'm not sure exactly what the rest of OG are doing. And they could just be pushing this tower. But I guess I can just do this as 2 because they're so tanky, and like, how do you even kill them? So you can use Melon here on this Tidehunter, maybe? And then of course you use your spirits to do as much damage as possible, and you just sort of kite around people, and with that, all the movement speed you have, you can play quite boldly here, running with the Tidehunter, and just right click people and use your spirits as well as you can. And it's not even really using this Heaven's Helmet very often, but even so, it's just like a decent stat item. Gives you all this evasion and strength and status resistance and so on, and just makes you very powerful. That's a reason why this item is built so much. It's one of the most powerful items in the game right now. So they're just going to siege this base, or I guess just dive in there. Much safer to just siege here a bit, but they're going to want to have some fun here and sort of try to celebrate their victory, but strictly speaking, this is not necessary. Strictly speaking, I just want to hit those buildings. Play it safe, but Tops is not exactly known for playing it safe, so of course you want to have to follow with your Tether teammate here. He's even healing up the Dark Seer here. You can switch around the Tether a little bit to heal different people. And yeah, there's just nothing they can do at this point. And you can see the Titanic would be the next item of choice here, but at this stage the game is over. Yeah, so here's the GG. So OG go 1-0 in the series, and they also end up winning the second game in also a very convincing fashion. The OG are back with mid-1 as their carry and Seb as the offlaner. Looks really strong, and if you don't ban these kinds of heroes, you're gonna get overrun by OG. So I'm really excited to see what this lineup can do in the future. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please recommend these videos to a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell, and Obelisk willing, I'll see you next time.